So welcome to an exploration of financial inclusion in micro, small and medium enterprises, also known as MSMEs in Zimbabwe. So this is an interactive report using Power BI that kind of takes you through the measure of financial inclusion and then dives deeper into the data that's available to you. This index is intended for policymakers, financial service providers, MSME-focused advocacy organizations, and other policy analysts that might find interest in this topic. And so as we go through, you'll see these orange buttons throughout the report. These are kind of your next steps. These are things that you can click on in order to navigate. And I would recommend for your first time, you just kind of go in the order, so using the first one, because it takes you through a whole bunch of information to make sure that you have a good baseline understanding of financial inclusion, of micro, small, medium enterprises, of the study itself, the index, the dimensions that feed into the index, and then now we can jump into the report. But you'll also see throughout the bottom here that there are these buttons to take you to the next page. These are other ways that you can navigate. So you can click on the next page, which then gives you the overview of all of our respondents. Everything on this presentation is interactive. So you can click on something like Harare and you'll see that it filters to give you the men-women distribution, urban, rural distribution, age, and so forth. And so you can just kind of keep navigating, clicking through to see those different distributions. Now, as we jump into the index itself, we'll start with an overview of financial inclusion within Zimbabwe, which we average out across the 10 provinces. And so you'll see 56% of MSMEs are financially excluded in Zim. And then you can filter through a province specifically and look at that. Masvingo, you can look at Harare, and you can kind of just keep navigating. These arrows will now take you deeper into the index and kind of reveal one layer at a time. So we'll kind of see that for each province, you will see a distribution of exclusion versus inclusion. And you can then start to filter across provinces and compare. As we deep dive into a single province, we have these 4 dimensions that we score out, average across to give us the final inclusion score. And then you can now start comparing all of the provinces. You're seeing the Zimbabwe average of 44% being included, but we really aspire for 70% of MSMEs to be included using the compliance rate of 90%. We'll then provide deeper insight through these equality measures. So you get to compare across different measures, whether that would be age, gender, location, sector, or size. And this kind of gives you some of the disparities. So you'll see that men are more compliant than women within Harare, and then you can keep doing that across the 10 provinces. At this point, you've kind of reached the end of the overview. And so now you can start to look into the actual data itself that feeds into it. And so one option is to dive into one dimension. So if you want to understand compliance further, you can then come and you can see how it is that businesses are registered versus registered with ZIMRA. And so you're kind of seeing that, as well as some of the reasons why MSMEs may not be compliant at this stage. And so that's one great insight. And then we have, so you can keep navigating back through the presentation using these back arrows to get to where you want to. And then if you are a service provider, we would recommend you coming through to this page. So this is the last page of the presentation, and it kind of gives you the data relevant to your industry. And so if you work in the banking world, the mobile money world, the insurance world, the savings and investment, and then if you want to investigate more about the source of funds for MSMEs, you can kind of see that personal savings is a large contribution of where these are getting their funds. But then also, say you do mobile money, You can kind of then see some of the availabilities of mobile money accounts, their awareness of other products through your services, what kind of mobile, and then these reasons of the barriers specifically that they have encountered while coming across your platforms or services. And so this is really important to help you then shape who it is that you are intending to target and kind of fill in some of those gaps. So that's the overview of the Financial Inclusion Index. There's a lot on this for you to navigate and explore and read up about, but that is the starting point. Another really cool opportunity is if you want to open in full screen